Wow, I mean, that's sort of my dream for what this place would turn into, is just, can you imagine, like, if just anybody, any old person in the community was like that, instead of reacting out of fear or judgment or whatever?
Well, I think we could. I think that if people just took you for who you were and didn't go all apeshit over you being a little bit different, I just think the world would be a better place.
But also, I guess I agree with that, but I also like it when people sort of take you for what you are, but also say who they are and what they need from
Yeah,
the
like that lady, I guess you mean.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of strikes me. I mean, like, I like it when people accept me from who I am, but if they're not super honest with me and sort of say who they are, I feel like it's one way.
Yeah, I know what you mean now. The nurse. Now, Beth, you're getting a little out of hand.
So that was really different.
She wasn't herself. I didn't know who the hell she was. Her voice changed. And she wasn't, it didn't matter who the hell I wasn't going to be benefiting her at all. And she let me know that. But the lady that, the business lady, I felt like we shared something, or she got something out of me, that she wasn't just given, she was, does that make sense? Like, she expected me to be okay. She expected me to not scare her. She expected me to be aware, I guess, of her, maybe her soul.
And that really changed who you were at that moment.
Yeah, it did, as a matter of fact.
Wow, I mean, that's like a great description of what we try to do here, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, when you came in, you said, this is a place where I can stay for a couple of weeks, get some food, and I thought maybe your impression was...
Don't forget a shower.
Yeah, I thought your impression was maybe this is a sort of a step up on a homeless shelter.
I thought it was.
Yeah, and I can understand that. A lot of people think that. And so what people think is that they can come here and just kind of blow out or take a break or whatever it is that they do in any place that has free accommodations. And the way you described the woman, for me, was a really nice way of describing kind of how we try to be with people, so that it's not just accepting and expecting people to be who they are, but to share, to be part of the conversation, to both hear and see you and where you are, at the same time sort of share with you where we are.
You mean do unto others as you would have done unto you?
Yeah, pretty simple, isn't it?
Hell yeah, I haven't even found a church that can do that. So it sounds like you guys are living some principles that I kind of believe in.
That's important to you.
Even though I'm crazy, those principles are important to me.
Well, what struck me about what you said was, and after the conversations with this woman, something shifted for you, and you sort of saw yourself differently.
Yeah.
But you also sort of felt different in relationship. You felt, valued and seen and heard.
Felt like an equal.
And when she wasn't there, you sort of continued a pattern that you've been through over and over again, where you felt out of control.
Yeah, and I don't know real why.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, any of us know why, but...
I just know she was kind of an anchor, and...
But you kind of know what worked about it.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I mean, knowing that stuff is...
Yeah. There's a give and take, I guess. Something like that. And who would think that a homeless person could give,
Right. I mean, that's what a lot of people think, isn't it?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They also don't think that we hear what they're saying, or that we can smell our own stink.
Right. So this place offers a little bit of, kind of a place to be, just to be.
Let me ask you something. No hiring?
Not right now. Are you looking for work?
Yeah, I might like to figure out how you got this job.
Oh, excellent. Well, I can could tell you about the training and stuff if you're interested in working here. I'd love to talk with you further about that at some point. It sounds like you have some really good ideas about being with people differently.
I don't know. I just know what I feel.
So, do you have any interest in sort of thinking about using this place if you needed it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I have to be in crisis to use it?
Well, the idea is that it's not about the place. I mean, I know if you're homeless, it would be an ideal situation to just come and have a place to crash for, a couple of weeks.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing this ain't a place to crash.
Yeah, yeah. But and so what's tempting for people is to think, I'll just create a crisis to come in, and certainly I've been there myself and kind of, just sort of steered myself in the wrong directions and ended up in places in crisis. But I guess my hope is that, you'd come here if you really needed a place to be with people intensely. I don't know if that makes any sense.
When I'm beginning to feel the stirrings.
Yeah, if you think you're going to end up in the hospital,
Yeah.
this might be a different place to come. But I guess what I want to say is, we also have a telephone support. We also can meet you out on the streets. So that if you didn't need a place to be, that was away from your friends and so forth, that we could have the same kind of conversation, but not in the place, if that appeals to you.
I've been homeless a while. Places don't really matter as much as what happens.
Yeah, yeah. So what's happening, that kind of conversation might be helpful to you. Yeah. So you could come here if you wanted to, if you felt like you needed a place as well as that kind of conversation.
Like walls, like the world is here.
Good description. Yeah, definitely. And if you did use it, if you used it in that way, like you needed the walls, like you might if you were going to get hospitalized or something, what do you think would be different for you if you came here instead of going to a hospital? I mean, what would you hope for in terms of who you were and your soul and your life? What would be different than if you were to use a hospital?
It just came to me in a flash. I don't know if I have words for it, right? But we all know our routines at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I go off, they go off. I go off harder, they go off harder still. And then one of us lies on the floor.
In restraints.
Whether it's me on the bottom or on the top. But
anybody's guess, right?
But that's the routine, and I'm not sure that every time I get a little crazy like that needs to be the routine.
Mm.
That it's got to come to that, and I sure would like to. I'd like to. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it.
You just like it to be different.
I want it to be different. I think it can be. And I feel like when I'm filled with God or the devil, that there's something I'm supposed to be getting that everybody interrupts by getting me to the hospital.
Mm.
I don't
feel
know.
Like you could sort of use what happens for you in a way that would help you, grow more deeply or learn more about your soul, like you said.
Yeah, if we could come at each other different than how we do it in the hospital.
And that the relationship you had with that woman kind of...
Yeah, your voice doesn't need to change.
Yeah,
but you can tell me what you need.
Yeah.
Or what you need me to do, because remember, I got that pinpoint of knowing.
Yeah, yeah.
I can hear you.
And that's the trick, isn't it? I mean, is somebody knowing you well enough and having enough of a connection with you to say whatever they have to say.
Well, you've given me fair warning that that's going to happen here.
Yeah. Yeah, but I like that you said, there's this pinpoint of time where where you can hear
knowing, pinpoint of knowing, it's always there.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I mean, people assume that we're just kind of out of it altogether, but there's just, I love that description, that pinpoint of knowing, because it's like this little
eye hole.
Yeah, that's a really good description. So, you know, you've talked to me a lot about, you know, this woman and what would be different in our conversations than in the hospital, and what you'd like to get to, of not sort of doing that, I get escalated and they get escalated, and, you know, one of us ends up in 4-point restraints or whatever.
You've got big words.
Yeah, I guess I learned my hospital words pretty well. You know, it's
right.
Pretty sad to say, but I guess I learned
You haven't
mental
been on
health
the
speak.
street much, have you?
No, it's true. I learned a lot of mental health speak when I was in and out of the hospital.
It's okay.
Thanks. Yeah, it's always a little embarrassing, but you know, we all have our own language, I guess. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that might be useful for you to know about. You've really described what you want well, and I think you've described what happens for you and what changes that. You know really well what works for you. And
well, I didn't know it until you asked me about it.
So, I guess I have one other question about that.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody may ask you about things in the way that you can hear. Are you pretty able to say, look, that doesn't work for me, or, you know, if
let's see what I'd say. I'd say, well, what I say in the hospital is back off.
Does that work pretty well?
No.
Yeah.
No, that's when we start the tug-of-war. So if I say back off, it means we're not connected.
Yeah.
You need to back off. You need to give me some space.
But actually, if I know that about you ahead of time, and you say back off, I'll know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
So I would, sort of calm down and, just maybe give you a break, or...
Yeah, if you gave me a break, that would, because I know me, and I'm going to be looking for you to react just like those nurses and doctors in there.
Right. And some people may.
If I say back off, if we all know that's my code word, back off, and if I see you do something like actually move away, man, I can't tell you what that's going to do to me. That's going to be great. I'm going to feel respected.
That's so important.
And then we might have a conversation, but I'm not going to have a conversation unless I feel respected.
I can so relate to that. It's really, it's just such a process of being told what we are, who, when to eat, when we're going to get sick, when to take our medications.
And did you have a bowel movement?
That's always my favorite question. It's like, what are you supposed to say to that? I don't want to talk to you about that. Well, I tell you, Beth, this has been one of the most wonderful conversations I've had about this program, because I don't always know exactly how to explain it, but you, in your own story, you kind of explained it to me, for me.
You did good.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Do you feel like you have sort of an understanding of what this might be, or?
It's a place where something different is going to happen.
Yeah, and it's sort of hard to articulate what the difference is, isn't it?
But we know it and we feel it.
Yeah, and hopefully we end up being different in ourselves, and also different with our friends and people around us.
And I don't have to come here to have this conversation.
Right. We can do it anywhere.
All right? I might try you out.
Great. Thanks.